LW is the 17th studio record by Australian psychedelic rock group King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This album is the third installment in the band's microtonal discography, labeled as Volume 3 on the cover art. LW is also the sister album to KG, a release that capitalized on revisiting microtonal tones and guitars that were first introduced on the band's 9th studio record, Flying Microtonal Banana. Both KG and LW were recorded in isolation by the band during lockdown in Australia. Each of the members tracked their parts and shared them to each other to create these two successful microtonal records. I believe that LW is King Gizzard's somber COVID-19 diary, reflecting on the lifestyle changes and social interruption brought on by not only the pandemic, but the state of our world and where it's heading in the future. To explain, I'm going to review tracks on the album and discuss how they offer perspectives that focus on themes of isolation and the pandemic's influence on our lives in this past year. The first verse of the opening track, If Not Now, Then When, addresses several issues that the Earth is facing, including deforestation, rising sea levels, and the general topic of climate change crisis. The second verse elaborates on the ways that advanced technologies are affecting the human condition negatively. These topics lead to the discussion of the fate of the human race in verse 3. The track One is an acronym for a lyric in the song One Night Everywhere. The song is a telling of the dreary state of our world amidst the fears of coronavirus and the sudden shifts to life in quarantine. To me, this nightmare is a direct reference to the shock of the world going into isolation due to the pandemic. The song is stating that one night, everything that we knew as normal for our species was going to change. This is also a reference to the state of the environment, with the idea that one day the Earth will change whether we are ready for it or not. While the song Plura is the most monotonous track on this record, it is loaded with socio-political references to the current world. Several lines are in reference to an orange baby that sucks the life out of living things. This is a reference to the political notions behind the coronavirus and how it was handled specifically in the United States. The bridge and outro refer to those who choose not to follow the guidelines for staying safe during the pandemic. This closing line drives the message of people who feel that the pandemic is robbing them of living their lives. These people are proving themselves by living the way that they choose, perhaps because that control over choice is what is worth dying for in the modern world. As we approach the end of side A on LW, the track Supreme Ascendancy refers to how figures of power can often get away with malicious activity free of any consequence. This song specifically tackles the Catholic Church to break down how law enforcement chooses to spare their poor decision-making. The overall message is that the fact that one's position in society has any control over how they can get away with crime points towards the flaws of the government. The two-part feature of this record, Static Electricity and East-West Link, cover a large area of this record, pulling back the curtain to reveal personal sentiment from the band that is vulnerable and sensitive. Static Electricity covers the fears of modern technology and its ultimate control over the human race. The lyrics paint a moving picture of people being torn apart and reassembled into their machine counterparts, becoming less and less human as we engage with technology on new levels. East-West Link follows closely after, leading the next song into discussion regarding the 18-kilometer tollway in Melbourne that was proposed to connect the Eastern Freeway and the Western Ring Road. The negative sentiment derives from mankind's inability to preserve the natural world. This line also makes sense when considering the pandemic combined with the excess of problems caused by humans. This pivotal moment of focus on mankind's ignorant actions leads us into Ataraxia, a song that depletes the mind of any consideration for the world altogether, struggling to find inner peace in a world that emphasizes individual perception and idealism. Ataraxia marks the point of transcendence on LW, showcasing the progression of care for our world and our species until it has derailed into a meaningless search for purpose in the end. The final tracks, See Me and KGLW, sign off this environmentally focused album with references to the pandemic throughout. The track See Me tells the story of an invisible being with a curiosity as to how it is being detected by people. This seems to me like a direct reference to the coronavirus and its place in the future of human society. This track suggests that perhaps this virus will linger on the Earth forever, lurking in the shadows of the past as humans find ways to overcome the struggles that it has created for mankind. KGLW ends the record in an 8.5-minute doom metal track. While the song is mostly instrumental, its rhetorical purpose sits nicely in juxtaposition with the opening track from KG by the same title. There was a warning of what was to come in the beginning, and now all that is left is the slow chanting of KGLW. LW closes another chapter in the saga of experimental rock narratives released by King Gizzard, giving an account of time spent in lockdown and reflections for the world to consider after listening. King Gizzard pushes their sound sideways on LW to explore ideas that they are confident with, including important messages that are relevant now more than ever.